Welcome to the Authors on the Porch group, where authors convene to chat and create shenanigans. Join us in the pursuit of authoring and all things books. Now sit back and relax. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Authors on the Porch. My name is Nicole. I'm author Nicole Paquin, coming to you from the Animal House in Southern California. And today I have Marisa Billions, Tanya Ross, and Jolie Tunnel. And we're going to be discussing an event that Jolie and Tanya organized a couple weeks ago, and it was called Once Upon a Time Book Fair. And it was an amazing experience to be part of. It was tons of local authors getting together, and we all sold our books, and we were in this beautiful park in this beautiful venue. And Marisa and I had such a wonderful experience doing it. And it was so nice to meet these two ladies who we'd been only known on through social media, probably through the Authors Porch or Authors on the Porch. And I was curious as to what started this entire ball rolling. And so I thought it would be really fun to get these two on with us and to let us know like how they started, how the seed was planted, and all the hoops that they had to go through to get this done, and what they would do differently the next time. And I also brought Marisa on too, because she was my partner, my ride or die partner in crime. And we've done several events together, and we always have such a fun time, and we always learn something new every time we do one of these. So I'd like to turn it over to Jolie, because she was our host for the day, and I would really like to hear from the beginning. Let's go.
Oh, the origin story. Okay.
Yes.
I met Tanya a couple of years ago when we were looking into doing we were attending our first author events, and shared a table, because you always need a partner in crime, right? And we just got on so well. She's a retired teacher, and I did a lot of PTA in my background. So we started chatting about events, and there's a lot of ways to do them. And we experienced a couple, and we spent that time chatting about, if we were running the zoo, how would we do it? And the next thing you know, we're spinning these ideas just out of thin air. But the funny thing is, we thought we could do it. It didn't seem far-fetched at all after doing a bunch of school events. What's possible. And bringing people together is just a natural idea. But boy, put books into that mix, and we were really ready to go. January, we sat down and said, what do you want to do this year? So Tanya had the connections up front. So she's like, okay, we'll start here. We'll see how far this goes.
From beginning to end, how long did this event take to put together?
Ooh, what do you think, Tanya?
We started talking in January, but it was just kind of like talk then. And so we probably didn't really go into full scale planning till February. It took about 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how did you find this venue? Tell us a little bit about this venue. It was really cool. It was perfect too, and the weather was perfect. It couldn't have been a prettier day. I mean, we didn't get overheated. We didn't get chilly. It was like we were under this. I want to say veranda. It's not a veranda. Was it a veranda?
Yeah,
a platform. It was really cool, and tell us about the park and how you got into the park.
Well, I'll kind of take that. First of all, we decided that the best way to approach this whole thing was to do it with the support of the Escondido Public Library, because I have contacts there, because I participate in a writers group at the Escondido Public Library. So after Jolie and I talked, and I broached the subject to the librarian, and I said, look, this is something we want to do, would the library be willing to support us? And she said, yeah, I think that sounds like a plan. Jolie and I had our own ideas at the beginning about where we wanted this thing to be. We had thrown out a bunch of different ideas. Grave Day Park, where we finally had it, was never a consideration. We had all kinds of other ideas, and so when it came down to it, and we started to approach the city, which is part of what you have to do in order to have an event, they just kind of said, well, this is what you get. This is what we're giving you to use. And so we were like, well, we weren't really even considering that, but okay, we'll jump in there and see if we can make the best of it. So, and it was really lovely. Turned out so much
I wish
better
we had some
than we
pictures
thought.
loaded of it. It was really well
Right.
set up.
Right.
They had a train in the back. So Marisa and we faced this train, and this girl, we was having her quinceañera, and she's taking pictures on the caboose of the train right in front of us. It was like we were watching our own show. It was really cool.
Yes.
Marisa, what did you take away from the experience? What was your vibe?
I loved, like, the whole energy of the day was just awesome, because everybody was there was somebody who loved to read or loved books, or, you know, like, it was really well marketed to an ideal target audience. What I really enjoyed the most was just the camaraderie. I mean, how all the authors were like going around and talking to all the other authors, and you know, and obviously having my, you know, my literary big sister with me to, you know, keep me company throughout the day was awesome. But you know, and I learned I have to bring cash.
It wasn't a big deal.
Nicole had to bail me out because I was like, well, I'll just do it all digital. I don't need cash. Nobody uses cash anymore. Oh no.
I drove around to 3 different places that day to get cash before I got to the thing. All the banks were closed. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna need some cash. And she's the only one who used it.
Oh my gosh.
That's why you need a partner. This is what they do.
Yeah.
But overall, what I liked too was the diversity of the authors. It wasn't all just one genre. It wasn't, you know, there was like, you had everything from kids books to horror to mystery to medieval to romance. Like, it was amazing.
It was really cool.
So I loved how you guys were able to cultivate such a great
diversity. We could not have actually planned that if we tried. That just happened just organically. And what we were amazed by was the response of how many authors wanted to participate. Honestly, we were just thinking, you know, we get a couple dozen at the most, and we had a wait list. We really did.
How did you find your authors?
Well, started with word of mouth, you know, and then everybody knows the next person's, and the rings just went out from there. And then the library put on a little advertisement, but by then it was just, you know, growing by leaps and bounds. We actually had to just cap it at some point. We couldn't fit any more tables where we were going to be, you know, which is something we're considering next year. But frankly, what Marisa said, the size was perfect because it allowed us all to meet each other and have the space to chat. Anything bigger, you know, it's harder to meet everyone, right? But, you know, I think we're going to have that diversity going forward because we really had a lot of interest in every genre.
Yeah, one of the things that I did too when we first started, you know, we were thinking, Jolie and I were like, well, we got to get authors to participate. And so I remember that the Escondido Public Library, they actually have a list posted on their website of local authors. And so I started going down the list and trying to figure out how to contact these people because I thought, you know what, if they're local, that's the place to start. So, you know, it was a real hit and miss because there wasn't really a way to contact them. So I ended up trying to find websites, trying to find them on Amazon, to, trying to find them on Facebook or wherever, so that I could contact them and say, hey, we've got this thing going. So, that was one of the things I think that kind of got things going. And then from there, putting it out on social media. Hey, if you're an author and you live in this area and you want to participate in this book fair we're having, let us know. So yeah, they started coming out of the woodwork early on, and it was exciting because, I think authors are feeling what Jolie and I were feeling when we first started this. It's like, we need a platform. We need something live, not just over the internet, not just social media. We need a place where we can be face to face with people, talk about our books, give a personality behind the book. And there just aren't that many things like that around. So that's one reason why we wanted to do it, is like, I know there are people out there just like us that need this. And so, yeah, so that was the momentum that got us going.
I found that that was the most important part of it for me. It was great networking and talking to people and readers, but I really just enjoyed meeting authors that I knew were out there, that I'd seen on social media, that I hadn't ever seen face to face. And although I didn't get too much time, because I was sticking to my table as much as possible, because there was a lot of traffic.
Mhm.
And the reason behind the traffic was because you guys had a brilliant idea, and I really think that this thing was a genius idea. They had a bingo card that everyone who wanted to put, and they had a big prize at the end. It was every author submitted a book, a signed book, and they had this big, beautiful. It looked amazing, this prize that they were giving away, and so everybody who attended got a bingo card. You had to go and get each author's signature, so it made sure that everyone in attendance got to network with each and every one of you. How did you get that idea?
Yes. The bingo card was a great thought, because when we did our events, when we attended our events before, it was hard to see people walk past your table and just keep walking past your table, and you were all ready to talk to them, but maybe they were going to someplace else. The bingo card forced the traffic to stop at every author's table, and maybe they didn't want to buy a kid's book today, but they stopped long enough for that 30 seconds for you to sign the card, for them to look and take in what was on your table. And I think that really helped two things. It helped you work your pitch. You could chat, even if it was for 30 seconds. And it increased the odds that someone might actually look at your book and maybe buy it,
Yeah, I have to give credit to Jolie for that one. She came up with that idea. Because I said, we're going to have all these authors, and we want to make sure that none of them just get kind of left out in the cold. We don't know who's going to be there, who's going to come. So Jolie came up with that idea, and I just thought it was brilliant. And yeah, it just, people were excited when they came up and said, will you sign my card? It's like, yeah, and so it made it really more of a fun. It had a little fun element in there, kind of a game feel to it. So Jolie that was a brilliant idea.
As Jolie said, it gives you a minute to work on your pitch, even 30 seconds. And that's exactly what Marisa and I were doing. Marisa was working on her pitch. I was working on mine. Sometimes we'd go way off the rails and have to rein each other in. It was so much fun. Oh, Marisa,
go ahead.
I should have you give your pitch right now.
Oh my God. No, it was so funny because I was pitching Nicole's book. Nicole was pitching my book. I think I pitched her book more than I pitched mine, and she pitched mine more than she pitched hers. And we were all so excited about it. People would come in and somebody would, depending on what angle they were coming from, somebody would pick up my book, and then Nicole would be like, "That's so good! It's such a good book! Oh my God!" And there's this twist you'll never get. You don't even see it coming. And I was like, "Oh my God!" And it haunted me for days. And then if they were coming from the other end and they picked up her book, they were like, I'd be like,
And she'd
oh
be
my
like,
God.
"Oh, that's Sophia Madison. She's like your best friend, blah, blah, blah." You know, like she started, it's like Sex in the City with Bridget Jones' Diary. Like we really like had each other's pitches down. And we both are fans of each other's writing. And we, you know, we both so and familiar with it. We've beta read each other's second novel as well. So we're very familiar with each other's work. So basically we were pitching each other. So it was that was like really good fun. Now, so what did you guys learn from this, and what would you do differently, and where are you planning, and are you planning to do it annually or trying another one next year?
Well, I'll speak to that. I decided like right at the get-go that this wasn't going to be a one and done kind of thing because I could see the potential being so enormous and the lack of anything like this in our area. I mean, sure, you can sometimes go to San Diego and find an event like this, but there's nothing up here, like that at
Okay, so
all.
you are
So,
northern
yeah,
North County.
Yeah.
right. So I was just like, we're going to try this and hopefully we're going to be able to learn enough and get it together enough that we can do it again. I don't want to probably do it until I'm 80, but it certainly has the potential to get better and better based on, what we saw and what we learned. And as far as what we learned, there were a significant number of things that that you come across that you're not expecting. We couldn't test the sound ahead of time. We didn't know about the condition of the bathrooms ahead of time. We didn't know, we and that
There's
was
always
that was kind of a downer, to find out that, well, first of all, we were worried that there was a bathroom. And then when we found out there was a bathroom, it was kind of like, oh, but they're just not the greatest bathrooms. So, you find these things out kind of as you go. So, next year we're looking at, well, maybe we'll use this venue again, depending on, who we have that would be interested. But now we know what we need. Yeah. Now we know what we need to kind of focus on, and work on.
right.
Good. I'm glad you'd be interested in coming back.
Oh yeah, it was just like I said. I didn't sell very many books at all, but I had but everybody had a Tanya Ross book in their midst. Everybody.
I didn't really sell that many, honestly.
Oh, sure. Every time I looked at it, I'm like, oh, you got Rising Up. Oh, you got, I'm like, I've been dying to get a hold of her cover designer. That's how I met Tanya. I reached out to her, I'm like, who is your cover designer? And I was working with the cover designer. I kept sending her pictures of your book. I'm like, this is what I want. This is what I want. And I kept getting something totally different. And then I tried to reach out to her, and I couldn't find her. I couldn't get her. But
oh no,
that's okay. I actually went a completely different way, but so you caught my eye along way back when you were on the author's porch and you did an author's interview with CJ. And then and it's funny how this community connects all of us. And I thought that your event was instrumental in bringing us all together, and it was so positive, and you guys did a great job. I mean, you just made it just seamless for us. We walk in, our tables were there, we just threw our table cover over it and set our books up, and we were ready to go. I mean, that was it. It was like, that's it. We don't have to, struggle or hustle or put up one of those tents. And, it was really, I think, I thought that event was perfect. I thought and if you need somebody to check the sound, I'm a musician that worked for the sound system. I don't know if you noticed, if I turned everything around and the guy's like, no. I'm like, no, you're facing the wrong way.
We have a question from CJ, and that's, was there a fee to be there for the authors?
No, that was very deliberate, especially for this first time event. We wanted to, that was a big, for me personally, that was a big deal. I wanted this to be something that everyone could access. And sometimes it's pricey if you want a table at an event. And if you have one book maybe you'll sell one book. You're not going to recover even just the fee. And I know it's fun and I know it's networking and you're trying to build a name for yourself. But honestly, I wanted something that if you had 20 books or one book, you had equal opportunity to be a part of this thing. And, if we kept our overhead low, which we really did, I think we did a terrific job with, it didn't cost a lot to run. We didn't require this ginormous budget to pay for the venue or whatever. We went through other direct, So I think up front, it was such a success that maybe the next time around we could, do something like a small fee, but we really got away with it. And I think it was such a success that it proves that you don't have to have a giant budget to pull off something like this. It can be done. We had authors from all over the county. I love that we did it in North County, in Escondido. There's a lot of things that are down south. We had authors coming from as far as Temecula, East County, La Jolla,
Imperial Beach.
Yes.
I live by the border.
Everybody was willing to make the drive to come. And that's not free either, if you've noticed the gas prices lately. So we wanted to make it possible for as many people as we could. And I think that all ties together.
The comment went away, but CJ popped in and said sponsorships would go a long way, I believe is what she said. It went faster than I could get it in. Sorry,
There's
CJ.
a lot of ways to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, one of the things I put out a feedback form, and I'm sure you guys have received it and probably filled it out by now. But one of the questions was, is there someone out there that would be a sponsor? And we had so much to worry about this time that we, didn't really have the time or contacts to go out and see if there would be sponsors available. But I would love to see that because that would further defray costs for advertising and that kind of thing. I believe that it would be great to be able to put a giant banner down across Grand Avenue in Escondido so that everybody would see it that would be coming through there. And cruising Grand is a big deal this time of year. It attracts hordes of people in Escondido. So having that kind of publicity with something like that would be great. But of course, those are costly. So a sponsor would be absolutely wonderful to have.
CJ already volunteered the author's porch, so
I knew she would do that.
Oh, that's awesome! Yay!
I actually, when they sent out a questionnaire afterward to get the authors' responses, and one of the questions was, do you know any sponsors that would be interested in this event? I'm like, probably the author's porch. And this is a great platform for sponsorship, and when it's deserving of CJ's attention, and I really think this is so that's fantastic. Good. Thank you, CJ.
And hello to Chelsea Walters. I just gotta throw that out there. She just came in to say hi to everybody. So
that's great. Hello.
Sorry, I'm trying to keep up. I'm trying to keep up with.
It's okay. It's okay. Okay, so I feel like I keep interrupting. I want to hear more from Jolie and Tanya, though. What personal experiences did you have? Did you have any funny things happen, like when Tanya was speaking? When we had to do readings. We didn't have to do. We volunteered, so we had the option to read for our books for 3 minutes, and Marisa and I were first. Marisa was the very first one, and she's like, "Oh God, I totally forgot that I volunteered." And she's like, "Whoa, did I volunteer to do this?"
Oh
and
no!
Then I'm like, "Okay." So we're sitting at the table. I'm like, "Just read your first 3 pages. Now go." And so we're sitting there like we were practicing before we went up. We had like half an hour to figure out what we were gonna do. And oh my goodness, it was nerve-wracking. And then when Tanya got up, there was a DJ at a party like way across the park, that started too. So I wanted to know how you felt about the reading. I know personally, reading out loud is mortifying for me. Doing readings is probably the most challenging thing of being an author. Getting up there and reading your own work in front of people. What goes through your head when you do it, Jolie?
Oh, I'm going to actually, we did a little divide and conquer during the event, as you probably figured out. Tanya was up top at the platform. So Tanya was running the readings. I was down below running the raffle tickets. So I've got a different story for you, but I'm going to let Tanya talk about the readings because, yes, I did hear rumors there was something fun when Tanya stood up to read.
Yeah, no, the thing that it was surprising to me as I'm in the middle of reading and that DJ comes on. I'm like, okay, just keep going, Frankly, I don't have any problem getting up in front of people because I was an educator, and I'm sure that Marisa can kind of relate to that. You're so often on the spur of the moment having to get up in front of people and talk, and I've done it for so many years that I don't really even have any stage fright or qualms about it at all, even if it is my own work. So for me, it was not a big deal at all. I know for other people, it was super scary. And, my regret with it is, we bounced it around whether or not we were going to do it, not do it, how we were going to do it. And, we really couldn't come up with anything where the reader would be separated from the group, because we thought, well, then who would they be talking to, And so we decided to just combine it with everything. And if people wanted to listen, they could. And if they didn't want to listen, they could. So I don't know whether or not that was, just a total failed experiment. But we're looking at hopefully, making sure that next time, we plan things a little bit differently, because we don't want people interrupting people's readings, and we don't want people up there reading when nobody is listening. So we want to be able to work on that and iron it out. And so that was one of the questions that I wanted to know from authors. Is this something that you would want in the future? I know they do it in Oceanside. Oceanside has a writing fair similar to what we tried to do. And they have author readings. So it's like, oh, well, that would be great. We'll just incorporate that.
Mm-hmm.
But I have not had a chance to see their setup and know how they did it. So that'll be on my calendar for something, to do. I think theirs is August 13th. So I'm going to try and get over to Oceanside and see how they have theirs set up and get some ideas.
Oh, that sounds like it.
A bit more of an open mic type of experience with seating and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't know how exactly they do it, but it might be something more like an open mic.
Yeah. That's the best part of this. We can just steal ideas from every place else, and just get the best of the best for what we're going to do. So that's smart. I was sitting down around the other side. So I never saw Marisa and Nicole, you guys at your table. I saw your Facebook afterwards, and I realized you were having a party over there just around the corner. And I knew something fun was happening over there. I just couldn't reach it. And then down where we were sitting, because I had this big costume on that I was wearing all day with this big floofy hat thing.
Oh, you looked adorable.
Yeah.
I didn't even recognize you at first.
Well, when you write historical books, then maybe you dress historical, right? That was the idea.
There was a guy in chainmail, full red fair chainmail.
He showed up and he started setting up, and his bag of tricks, it just kept coming. It was like, I have this and that, and he had dragons on his table, and I was like, I can't compete with that.
He was serious business. He had all kinds of
he was serious, but
material.
He's obviously done this before. He's had lots of time to plan ahead and find all the toys. And, but as you went up, there was somebody handing out little stuffed puppies, because of course her book was about puppies. And I thought, there's some brilliant ideas out here. So just looking at the different tables, getting ideas from everybody else, it was just so much fun. Everybody had a different spin on what they were doing. It was great.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And people had gift baskets with little treats to give out. And I was like, oh, I didn't do anything like that. Oops. Here's a free bookmark.
Mm-hmm. I did give away a lot of bookmarks that day.
Yes. Definitely. Bookmarks are a big item because they're not too expensive to produce. And, then you can have a lot of information on there and they're useful. So they're a great giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Nicole's, don't you have a gold tassel on yours?
Yes.
I was all about that gold tassel.
Amazon. I did those myself. Actually, CJ designed the book. She used Canva. I didn't know how to use it back then, so I've had those bookmarks a long time. So she designed my bookmark, and I ordered them on Canva, and then I got a hole punch, and I sat at home, and I bought tassels on Amazon, and I just sat there and put them
They
together.
were hand tasseled.
Hand tasseled. Yeah.
That's fabulous.
It's fun, like the little things that fall in line with being an author and producing books and stuff, and the little things that can be so silly but so much fun at the same time. And I enjoy my bookmarking.
Yeah, it's part of the joy to be able to kind of, hop up and do other things that are related to what you do, and it just seems like it's an never-ending source of creative work where you can find an idea here and there that you can throw out there and use. So it's just a lot of fun.
Well, I want to thank you once again for having that opportunity for all of us to participate in, and I'm looking forward to the next one, and I know Marisa is too. And thank you for shedding a little light in case we want to get our hands dirty and go out there and do an event of our own. Of course, in San Diego, we'll rope all of you guys in if we decide to do something like that. But just count us in for your next one, and don't be a stranger to Authors on the Porch, because we'd love to have you back at any time to talk about your books and your journey, and we'll get together with you again in a few months and see where everybody's at then. How does that sound?
Excellent. Thank you.
Fabulous. And I so appreciate you guys getting us together and talking about this, because it's great for everybody. All the authors out there in the world can and should be doing this. So,
and it's important to have a tribe. It's important to have friends to lean on, to count on, and to support one another. This is a competitive business, and you run into a lot of roadblocks when you sometimes meet other authors, and this is so not the case with the four of us, and CJ as well, and we're very lucky to have a community, a writing community that's tight knit and supportive. So thank you again for that. And CJ, you can head us out. It was great to talk to you, Jolie, Tanya, Marisa, and I'm Nicole, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in to Authors on the Porch.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.